All right. Well, since we're on the topic of Star Wars, let's get to this news, which is Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy is now in doubt. And I'm sure this is good news to 90% of this panel, probably 100%. But I've been saying for a long time that as long as Kathleen Kennedy is in charge of Lucasfilm, I don't think Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy is going anywhere. And this is the first sign I've seen that my prediction might be wrong. And so if we go over to Screen Rant, they have this article that says Rian Johnson doesn't seem sure about his new Star Wars trilogy anymore. And basically, this comes from an interview that Bang Showbiz did with him on the red carpet for his Knives Out movie. And he remarked that Lucasfilm is in the process of figuring out what they're doing and that he'd be thrilled if it happens. So he hasn't come out and said it's not happening. He hasn't said that it's dead. But it seems that Disney, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the news that Kevin Feige is coming in to produce a Star Wars movie, because I kind of pointed out in the video that I did covering that one of the interesting things here is going to be where Kevin Feige's movie fits into their planned Star Wars release schedule, because they have a schedule for a Star Wars movie every 2 years. And if Kevin Feige comes in and his movie is first, that pushes back the Benioff and Weiss trilogy, and that would definitely push back the Rian Johnson trilogy. So it seems that with Disney's plan on kind of reorganizing how they're doing Star Wars, with Kevin Feige coming into the mix, that has put their release schedule in doubt. And so Rian Johnson probably doesn't know if his movie is actually going to be going forward anymore. And if we want to, we can kind of listen to this on Twitter, I think. See if this works. It's not working, so screw it. But I want to get.
I can do the voiceover if you'd like me to do, Matthew.
In a bit, Mr. Man Baby.
Just watch the body language of that video. He just shrugs his shoulders. He looks off. He's just like, "Why did you ask me this question?" I don't know. Basically, that's the video.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of this news? Do you think that this is a sign that his trilogy is dead in the water? What's your take on this?
My thing is, I think they have no freaking idea what they're going to do with the next Star Wars film. We keep getting weird announcements. Keep saying it's the D&D brothers. No, maybe it's Rian Johnson. Oh, now Kevin Feige is going to do something. Now, I just don't think they have no idea what's coming next. They even released dates, and I think that's even suspect. I think that's even suspect. But I also feel that some of these directors might just be doing straight to streaming. And they just haven't said anything yet. I mean, I think they might do a couple shows for streaming and just call it a day. I mean, that's an easy out for Disney. If they promised Rian Johnson a trilogy and they're now seeing the damage that he's done to this franchise, to the fandom, to everything else, and they're like, dang, I don't know how we're going to do this. So maybe, why don't we just give him a streaming trilogy? He could just do it on streaming, and then he'll have his trilogy that we promised. And then, the hardcore fans won't be that upset. They'll just be like, there it is over there. So honestly, I don't know what to think. Honestly, I don't until they come out and say this is next. That's when we'll know. Honestly, that's when they know. Because the D&D brothers was like all excitement. We were like, yes. And then that last season of Game of Thrones, and everyone's like, oh God.
Oh no.
Oh no, this is very bad.
I think Disney saw that too. They're like, what the heck is that? So
they are the masters of the logic of safety.
Proper. What's your take on this news? Do you think this is the first sign that Rian Johnson's out?
I honestly didn't think it was the first sign. I certainly don't think it's the last, but it's the way that he responded to the question that I thought was most interesting, because before he was like, oh yes, it's definitely happening. This is definitely a thing. The vernacular he was using was just of excitement and just like, haha, I have a trilogy, suck it, man babies. That's the attitude he had. And now, not so confident, I guess. He seems to be like, well, I don't know, I'm not sure. I'm still talking to Disney, I don't know. It seems like he's losing confidence in that, because maybe they did offer, it's like, hey, we're probably not going to do it theatrically, but perhaps if we do it on the streaming service, people wouldn't be as mad, as Drunk 3PO said. Took the words right out of my mouth there. It's their best move if they want to continue having a positive relationship with Rian Johnson. If they choose to say, no, I don't know about this anymore, maybe we should part ways. Yeah, he's saying all the right things to keep himself safe for the time being, but the way that he's responding to that now, and we haven't heard much about it, and the fact that he would be probably like it'll be coming out in what 7 years or something.
8, if we're lucky.
If we're lucky, I mean, depending on who you are, if you're excited, but absolutely, it puts it in doubt. But it's just we're gonna have to wait and see what after episode 9 comes out, because I always say, like, maybe there's that 1 in 14,605,000 chance that it's a masterpiece and it brings back the fandom. It's the best Star Wars movie ever. So until we see that movie and we see the response to it, how we feel about it, there is no way that I don't think Disney or Lucasfilm could really accurately predict like what movies are going to have when. My guess would be the streaming service, if at all.
Mr. Connors, you have an interesting take on the industry. What do you think Disney's doing here that's putting Ryan's job in doubt?
I think we have to go way back to that Bob Iger interview, where Bob Iger basically knew before anybody else, probably, when he said it in so many words, the buck stops with me now on Star Wars. And then he proceeded to bring up Benioff and Weiss and leave Rian Johnson out in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
I believe ever since then, it's pretty much been in his plans that this was not going to happen. There was one thing that was for sure, and that was Rian Johnson was not going to touch Star Wars ever again. I highly doubt it will happen. I didn't think it was going to happen then. I'm even in more doubt now than I was before, and I was pretty sure that it wasn't going to happen. I mean, I was willing to bet maybe they would work out a deal where he would direct one of the Benioff and Weiss films or something like that, and that'd be the closest we'd get to the Rian Johnson trilogy in quotations, and he would just go off and say, oh yeah, I helped him come up with the concept or some shit like that. I don't think he's even remotely close to anything happening. I really think it's been off the table. I think it's come down to one of those situations to where everybody pretty much knows it's not going to happen. They just haven't told him yet. And he probably had one of those meetings with them at some point where, they're like, well, isn't there anything else you'd rather work on or something? And I'm just, I'm speculating here, but chances are they probably got to the point where they let him get the feeling that they weren't real keen on him making another Star Wars project, especially, I mean, let's face it, the way he's dealt with the fans, if they really wanted to throw their weight around, they could be just like, look, Ryan, this just isn't going to work out. You and the fans don't click. You know what I mean? And Bob Iger is a man who pays very close attention to what the fans say. Now, he may not always get the right message, but he does pay attention. And I have a feeling that there's no way we're going to see a Star Wars trilogy or Star Wars film out of Rian Johnson, Disney Plus or not.
So, Steven, the illustrator, have you been working on any memes to propagate this news?
No, but maybe I should.
What do you think? What do you think this means for Star Wars? Is this a hopeful sign?
Not well. It depends on who you ask. It depends on how you look at it. Some people are just mad about The Last Jedi. Other people are more critical of Disney in general. Everything they've been doing since they got a hold of the property. First thing they did was Kathleen tossed out the EU, and then that ticked off a lot of fans, a lot of old fans. And then, The Force Awakens, not everybody, including me, was happy with it. But I think The Last Jedi really just kind of crossed the line with a lot of fans. But to me, there's no way Rian Johnson is going to get a trilogy. There's no way he's going to make a trilogy of Star Wars movies. They might toss him a bone with the streaming service, like you said. Maybe direct an episode or two, but there's no way he's going to get a movie, not even a single movie. There's no way. It's not going to happen.
Well, let's go to the source himself, Mr. Ruin the Man Baby.
Hello, man babies.
Are you still doing your trilogy, sir?
Well, started listening to you goddamn man babies still blabbing on about The Last Jedi. Let me tell you this, man babies. I'm not only getting a trilogy, I'm getting a trilogy of trilogies. I'm getting 9 movies. I'm going to rewrite the whole of Star Wars history.
Oh,
It's going to be fantastic. But honestly, I can't be this dude any longer. Um, my thoughts on this is that Rian Johnson never even put pen to paper on an idea for a Star Wars movie. I think it was a throwaway comment he made. And Kathleen, in a moment of excitement, said, "Oh, that sounds fantastic. Let's do a trilogy on it." If I remember right, he said something at the time about, "Oh, I want to delve into the go away from the existing universe and delve into the past and take it to new planets and new places." And Kathleen got all excited, and this was before The Last Jedi had come out, and before he kind of went on his rant and his attack on the fans. And I think whoever it was said Bob Iger pays attention is spot on, and they would be absolute fools to give this guy a trilogy. Obviously, for my own benefit, then there he is, old roundhead. Then I hope he does get a trilogy. That would just give me material for years. But the reality is, no, I don't think so. I actually think he's looking for a way out. I think he's looking to save a bit of face. And that's why he stutters his way through interviews, kind of saying, "Yeah, I'm not sure. We're working on it." But honestly, this guy's got no outline. He's put nothing down on paper, and I think that they're looking for an amicable way out. And I don't think we will get a Rian Johnson movie, but I hope we do. It would be beautiful
for your career. For your career. I've been very vocal in my belief that Rian Johnson, his trilogy was pretty much set in stone so long as Kathleen Kennedy was still in charge. And I'm happy to say that I could be wrong. This is the first sign I've seen that's put doubt in my head that this is not going forward. So I guess we'll find out about this sooner or later. But once Kevin Feige's Star Wars movie hits, I think we'll get a better idea of what Disney plans to do with the movies and how Rian Johnson fits into that. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I hope you got a lot out of it. And remember, if you want to support the channel, please check us out on the socials. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew Kadish. You can also find our discussion group over on Facebook at eggfbgroup.com. That's eggfbgroup.com. Takes you right to our Facebook discussion group. And if you'd like to help support the channel, check out my books over on Amazon.com. You can find them by going to kadishbooks.com. That's KADISH books.com. And as always, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you're notified every time we upload a new video for more movie, TV, and entertainment news and analysis. This is Matthew Kadish. I'll catch you guys later.